Radio Raheem with the haymaker, David Haye. There may be some hay made in Saturday night. Just 24 hours from now, we saw these guys step on the scale today. I was surprised. I thought that Tyson Fury was winding us up. No way he comes in 15 pounds heavier, 15 and a half pounds heavier, and Wilder as well. What do you make of this development?
I think the additional weight added to both fighters means they're both willing to hold their feet that much longer. They both realize it's going to be a rough and tough tussle inside, so they need the extra horsepower. Wilder looked fantastic. Fury looked better than I've ever seen him before. Just his arms, his shoulders, his neck. He looked like he's put on some considerable muscle mass. You know, he's lost some of the puppy fat that he had before from the big gap out. He's filling into his body now, and he looks lighter than he was for his previous fights. But he's heavier, but it looks like it's solid muscle. And, you know, in the clinches, that really works out well for him. He was doing well in the clinches in the first fight. Wilder, I think, once wanted that same thing. He may have felt a bit weak inside, getting pushed around. So he put on 16 pounds. That's a lot of weight for Wilder to put on in one fight. It's not like he put on 5 here for another 5.
Right.
Just putting on in one fight. It's a hell of a difference. But it means he's going for the knockout. He's not looking at bouncing around using his long range speed. He knows he needs to get his knuckles onto Fury's chin quickly, and he's willing to stand there and tussle to get it done.
Well, for Wilder's sake, that's no surprise. But Fury, in the press conference, claimed he was going to get a second-round knockout. Everyone chuckled.
Everyone laughed. I laughed. I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't believe this. But look at him on the scales. I think he could do the unthinkable. He could just go, let's go to war, let's have a good old-fashioned... He could do that.
You imagine
He's crazy enough to do that. He's one of the few guys that'll go there and do... I've never done it in a fight before, but in the biggest fight of my life, I'm just going to bring it right to him. He could do that. He looked like he was in the mind frame to do it. I saw an interview with Steve Bunce afterwards, and I've never seen him sound so confident. Normally, there's a little cracks in his game. Sometimes you can hear that. You know, he contradicts himself sometimes. This time, he was on it, 100%, zoned in. I'm going to win this fight. Thanks for everyone to come in. I will not let you down. And he said it. He meant it. He wasn't letting anyone down. So I'm like, my prediction of Wilder knocking him out pretty easy is... I need to rethink this. I still believe Deontay Wilder's going to win the fight by stoppage, but if he doesn't, it's going to get very, very interesting.
Do you believe with this extra 15 and a half, and if he comes the way you're describing he might, that Tyson Fury has the power to knock out Wilder?
Tyson Fury's a big man. He's 273 pounds, 6'9". Yeah, you can't question, his strength or his punch power. He's got a decent knockout ratio, but he's never really tried to knock anyone out. He's normally a boxer. He moves around, moves his feet, jabs, ties you up, holds you and hits you. He doesn't really come forward and have a slugfest. So we've never seen him in that seek and destroy mindset yet. What a great place to start it. Here at the MGM Garden is perfect.
Well, before I let you go, I saw Derek Ward Chisora in there as well, and he didn't look all that pleased not to be having a training camp on right now.
Yeah, we've given him a little bit of time off. We said to come and have some fun out in Vegas for a while. He won't be fighting for a few months yet, which hopefully he'll be able to get all the info to everybody soon, exactly who that will be. But we're working on Alexander Usyk. Hopefully we'll have a deal sorted out pretty soon, but he's in good shape, and he wants to cause a massive upset there.
Well, it looks like Joshua has got his fight on with Pulev. He's got a date. Dylan White's got a date coming up. But first, how does Pulev-Joshua play out? And we've all heard Bob Arum's comments saying that Joshua's not an elite fighter, and, of course, predicting his man Pulev.
I couldn't disagree with that statement more. Anthony Joshua is sort of the epitome of professionalism and athleticism, and if you don't rate his skills, the fact that he's got the WBA, WBO, and IBF titles, and beat in his last fight the guy who beat him, everybody knows that whoever wins this fight tomorrow needs to fight Anthony Joshua to once and for all prove who is universally number one on the planet, regarding of belts, regarding of titles, lineal belts, whatever you want to call. We need to see the best fighting the best, and we're going to see that tomorrow. And then hopefully after that, the winner of this wants to solidify his greatness by jumping in there with Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua wants to solidify his greatness by jumping in with one of those. It works both ways. all of the champions need each other for themselves, for their own history. They need to know at this era, I at least try to fight the very best.
But does Joshua, at this time in his career, for his own sake, need to knock Pulev out? It's not good enough to get the 12.
Getting a boring 12-round fight isn't what Anthony Joshua would want. You know, not the fight he had last time out with Andy Ruiz was strategic. He wanted to get the win and get the win as conclusively as possible, and he did it against a very dangerous opponent. You know, against Pulev, he needs to make a statement. He needs to go out there and show the world, you know, why he's the man, why he has all of the belts. He needs to go out there and do a complete job of him. The same way Vladimir Klitschko did a job on Pulev. He knocked him out of one shot, left hook, feint jab, left hook, put him to sleep. That's what Anthony Joshua needs to do, and that's what he will do. You know, looking at these two guys, I know both guys very well. Anthony Joshua should have a workmanlike stoppage victory against Pulev, and then he has his WBO mandatory to deal with, who currently is Alexander Usyk, who will be getting roughed up a little bit by my man Derek Chisora. So, you know, the future's looking potentially bright for the heavyweight division. So many exciting fighters. Dylan White's WBC mandatory for the winner of this fight next year. He'll get his shot.
Next year he'll get another excuse.
No, but the fact is, we've got these young guys coming through now, and we've got such a depth in the heavyweight division. We've got the cruiserweights moving up, the cruiserweight champion moving up. There's big names, exciting fighters, all willing to do it. All of the fighters want to fight each other. In the past, everyone was dodging this guy. They'll keep these titles in Germany here or this one in America here. Now everyone's getting the fights on. The fact that you've got the cross-pollination of networks, of promotional entities. People are willing to make fights happen, working with people they don't normally work with. And that's just good for the boxing fans.
You are one of the best guys at getting the fight you want when you want it and having huge nights of boxing. What does Dylan White have to do? He's always like the odd man out. We just talked about all these great fights, all these great matchups. He's not in that conversation either. How does he get himself in a position to get the WBC title shot or get another shot at Joshua, get in this mix where he can get big fights and title shots?
He just needs to continue doing what he's doing. You know, he hasn't put a foot wrong. You know, his comeback campaign after the loss against Anthony Joshua has been, you know, near perfect. You know, all of the fights he's won, even in fights that were quite close, they were very, very exciting fights. Seldom do you see White in a fight which isn't exciting. His last fight against Mariusz Wach weren't the greatest, a last minute fight, but his next fight, hopefully against Alexander Povetkin, now we're talking about another good fight. You know, Dylan White versus Povetkin it's a great, both fighters, big hearts, they let their hands go. Look at Povetkin's last fight against Hunter where he got a draw. Great fight. You know, we want more great fights and we're getting them time after time. I think Dylan White just needs to continue what he's doing. His opportunity will come, his chance will come. Some fighters get sort of sidetracked quite a bit. I remember Lennox got sidetracked for a while before he got his opportunity. It happens when someone's significantly better than the other guys around. Sometimes the champions pick the softer guys as an easy defense. Nobody's going to pick Dylan White as a soft, easy defense because they know win, lose or draw, you've got probably one of the hardest nights of your life. So he needs to continue doing what he's doing, living and breathing it in the gym, training, working with his team, and his chance will come. And if he's as good as he believes he is, he'll have one of these belts wrapped around his waist not to in probably 2021.
We're looking forward to you continuing doing what you're doing so we can get Derek Chisora fit and in the ring against Usyk, another super fight on that side of the pond. Can't wait for that matchup when it happens. Radio Raheem with the Haymaker, David Haye.